So, so drug nomenclature. The word nomenclature is Greek word which means naming. Hmm? Just like organic compounds, drugs also need to be recognized by the patient or by the doctor or the researcher or anyone. So there is a way to give name. There is a systematic way of naming a drug. There are some regulatory which controls the naming. So I hope you people are following. Please try to be attentive. Only this week, by Monday, we can have class, online, sorry, face-to-face class. Please bear with me. So try to follow. So drug nomenclature. The nomenclature is a Greek word which means naming. So there are certain ways of naming. So the possible ways of naming is, you see, tribal naming or common names. Some of the drugs, when there was no any systematic way, olden days, so the names were given according to source, color, something like that. So that is called as tribal names or common names. Still, some of the drugs we call with those names. Next one is chemical naming, which is also called as IUPAC system. IUPAC system, International Union of Purified and Applied Chemistry. Drugs are also named with the help of IUPAC system. Next one is non-proprietary name, which is also called as generic naming. Generic name of a drug. Most of the times we use this generic name. And one more way of naming is proprietary or brand name. Proprietary or brand name, which is also called as pharmaceutical company drug name. So then from the name, from this statement itself indicates that the name of this drug is given by the particular pharmaceutical company. Then the last one is code names. Some of the drugs are given in the form of AR 0002, something like that. So this is the called as code name. So these are the different possible ways of naming of a drug. First one is tribal name, which is also called as common names. Next one is chemical naming according to IUPAC system. Next one is non-proprietary, which is also called as generic name. Please try to follow. Then next one is proprietary, brand name, pharmaceutical company drug name. Next one is code name. So let us discuss one by one with various examples, with various drugs names. In the meantime, we also study its uses all into. So try to capture this at any point of time. If you find any difficulty in understanding, please raise the question. So this is the naming, which is called tribal naming. So one of the example. So tribal naming. Here is tribal naming is a non-systematic. Tribal naming is a non-systematic and non-formal way of naming of a drug. Tribal naming is a non-systematic and non-formal way. First itself I told, naming nomenclature means systematic way of naming, but you need to learn this. That's why we included this slide, tribal naming. Here it doesn't follow any systematic way. or we can also call it as non-formal way. Here the naming are based on the source, based on the source or color or any history. If there is anything, then it will be given. It was olden way, olden days, 19. So at the before 19th century or before 18th century, the naming were were following. The naming of drugs were followed in this manner. For example, you see acetic acid. It is a Latin word which is derived from the word called as acetum, which means vinegar. So here the naming of acetic acid is from the source, which is nothing but acetic acid. You see, acetic acid is not a drug, but still we are learning here. The naming is done in the form of from the source. You see, it is a Latin word which is a Latin word called acetum, which means what do you mean by acetum in Latin? Vinegar. So acetic acid was predominantly found in vinegar. So that's why they were using this name acetic acid. They given the name acetic acid. Now the same way formic acid, you can see formic acid is derived from the Latin word from formicia. What do you mean by formicia? Ant. Ant. So you can also observe whenever there is uh, bite of an ant, you can observe some swelling, uh, swelling in our the part where it has beaten, where it has beaten, because the ant will introduce formic acid, which is available in eaten. So that's why we get like allergic reactions when ant bites. We get allergic reactions. So here, these are the some of the few examples. There are many examples which you might have learnt in organic chemistry. So few examples we kept here, and now you can see some of the examples uh, based on the color. Some of the drugs are presented. Now, this is this chemical. See, this is a still bean. What is the name of this chemical? Still bean. Now, this still bean, what do you mean by still bean? Still bean means striking color or bright color. So the compounds you people might have learnt in 3402, chromophore. So there are high chromophores present in these molecules. That's why it has color. It has color. So that's why they have given still beans. What do you mean by still bean? Huh? Still bean means striking color, red color, something like color. As soon as you see, you can observe the color. So bright color, that means bright color. Now you observe the structure of this. See, you observe this is a drug. You observe this. You see, this is a drug. Is having almost similar structure to this still bean. Still bean. That's why you can see it extra. What is present here? The extra, apart from this, you see extra, there is ethyl group here. This is one ethyl group. Here CH2, here CH3. So one ethyl group. This is also one more ethyl group. Here also one more ethyl group. See, diethyl. See, diethyl. Diethyl. Now you can observe diethyl. Still bean. You see from the name still. They have taken up to here in this still bean, and this drug is having activity similar to that of estradiol. Estradiol is a female sex hormone. So that's why the name of the drug, you see here, based on the color, based on the source. Based on the source, they have given the name of this drug diethyl stilbestrol. Diethyl stilbestrol is a non-estrogenic, non-steroidal estrogenic drug. What is this? This is estradiol, which is produced in our bodies. In our body, you people might have learnt in physiology, anatomy physiology. Estradiol is produced both in males and females, both male and females, but more is produced in females, little is produced in males, in the male, in the men, in the men. So based on that, diethyl stilbestrol is the name given to this drug. You can observe one more time. If you have any doubt, you can ask. First thing what you need to learn, this structure, stilbene. This is the stilbene. Diphenyl ethylene molecule. Which is also called it, another name is also called it as styrene. People might have learnt in polymers. Professor Edith might have taught you styrene molecule. But the chemical name is styrene. The normal name is stilbene. Stilbene. Now, when you observe these two structures, this is the structure which is a drug name. The drug has similar to this structure. So diethyl. So why we given diethyl? This is di means two. Di means two. What are those two? This is number one. This is number two. So number one, number two, and what is the two? Ethyl structure. That's what we written, and it is having a structure similar to that of stilbene. So they have given the name up to here, still. And this drug is having activity similar to that of estradiol. So they given estrol. Estrol. It is a estrogenic nature and is used to treat amenorrhea, which is also called as, what do you mean by amenorrhea? Loss of menstrual cycle. Loss of menstrual cycle. Women after 40 or 45 years or 50 years, depending upon the nature of women, they lose the menstrual cycle. When they lose the menstrual cycle, there is no estradiol, so patient will become will become prone to osteoporosis. Will be prone to osteoporosis. So because of that, they're suffering. So in order to avoid that, we are giving externally some drugs. So these are replenishers. Hormonal replacement therapy. We call it as HRT, hormonal replacement therapy. So there is no hormones in our body. That's why we are taking externally. So this is called as hormonal replacement therapy. So you are giving the woman this diethyl stilbestrol than in estradiol. Estradiol should be given in the form of injection, whereas diethyl stilbestrol can be given in the form of oral tablet. It's a quite advantages. So when you want to take estradiol, you need to go to hospital. You need to purchase an injection. You need to purchase needle, which is expensive for the patient. But simply you can carry the tablets. So that is this, the use and everything. So any doubt, please, here? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, please, any doubt?
On my side, no.
Together.
Okay, good. Now, one more important thing, let us study this drug. So the first slide itself, we are giving lot of information. You can see it. What is this bond? Is a double bond structure. Double bond structure. So this compound will undergo geometrical isomerism. Geometrical isomerism. The transform, you see the double bond, the transform of diethylstilbestrol is very active, whereas cis form of diethylstilbestrol is not active. See why? The transform, you see the distance between these two hydroxyl groups, the distance between these two hydroxyl groups, and you can also observe, please try to concentrate, you can also observe two hydroxyl groups on this estradiol. The distance between these two hydroxyl groups in the natural estrogen is 11.18 angstrom units, 11.18 angstrom units, whereas in the transform it is exactly almost closer to that of natural. You see 12.17 angstrom units. That's why only transform of diethyl stilbestrol is active. Is active. Whereas cis form, when you write the cis form, what happens? The two hydroxyl groups comes very closer to each other. Now the distance become almost half, 6 to 7 angstrom units it becomes. So it cannot bind to the receptors. Now I think yesterday on Monday class I was discussing about stereochemistry in drugs. Now this is one of the classical example where transform is eliciting action, whereas cis form is not showing any action. Why? Because the transform, the distance between the two hydroxyl groups in the transform is exactly matching or closer to that, is closer to the natural estradiol. So that's why diethylstilbestrol. What's the name of drug? You can start repeating along with me. Diethyl. See the name, you can see it. No need to remember anything. And see diethyl. No need to by heart. You can see. So these are the two ethyl groups. Diethyl still. Still bean. I told you what do you mean by this still bean. What's the chemical name of still bean? Also, I told that. The chemical name is styrene. In polymers, it has these molecules and more. Styrene. So here you see still bean is up to the name is up to here. And estrol, why? Estrol is because it looks similar to that of estradiol. Estrol. Why we given diethyl? Because of two ethyl groups present here. So only transform of diethylstilbestrol is used as hormonal replacement therapy, not the cis form. So if you give the drug which is having cis form, it is a waste. So unnecessary. Suppose if you purchase one tablet for 100 shillings, 50 molecules of this 100 molecules is cis form, no activity. You are purchasing a waste half of the price. So in 100 shillings, your 50 shillings is waste. To avoid that, nowadays the regulatories like PBB, like FDA, Food and Drug Administration, they're emphasizing that you need to give which is active molecule, not the unwanted isomer. Unwanted isomer. So this is one example. So next, I think one more. So one more way of one more example. You see here the name aspirin. So this aspirin, how did it came? The name, let us see. The drug, see, it was this drug is a natural drug, small semi-synthetic. We are doing some what's that? One step. Most of the structure is from the natural. One process we are doing, then it is called as semi-synthetic. So this plant, willow bark is a natural pain reliever. This willow bark consists a chemical called as spirin. Willow bark is a natural pain reliever. It has a chemical called as spirin. Spirin, which is responsible for pain relief. Which is responsible for the pain relief. So this spirin molecule on acetylation, we got the drug acetyl salicylic acid, which is also called as aspirin. So that's why the name I have made into different colors. You see, capital A is written as blue color, remaining I written in black color, because the spirin part is different and A means acetylation. So in those days, the naming was done like this. So in the naming of aspirin, A means what? Acetylation. The drug is obtained from the plant willow tree with the main chemical constant called as spirin. What is the chemical constant responsible for this plant willow bark to elicit action is spirin. So to increase its activity, so they have made acetylation. So this is the one way of naming. Then one more example for tribal naming use purine. What is the P means? Purine, purification. So purine compounds were isolated on purification of urine. Uric acid, all these, they are purines. So you get these chemicals on purification of urine. That's why they have given the name purine. So this is the small topic on tribal naming. Complete information on the tribal naming. The first one what we have seen is formic acid and acetic acid. Acetic acid is from vinegar, formic acid is from ant. Then we studied, next one we studied styrene, diethyl stilbestrol. So then we studied its transform is active. Its transform is active because the distance is between the two hydroxyl groups is exactly matching with the natural estradiol or natural estrone. Estradiol. So that's why it is showing activity. So this is about tribal naming. Next, we go about chemical naming. Chemical naming. Here, the drugs are described chemically. The drugs are described chemically. How does we What are the principles we used? Here we use the principles related to IUPAC system, that is International Union of Purified, Applied and Chemistry. I think you people know about this IUPAC system. This so till the 19th century, at the early of 19th century, the number of organic molecules in the world has increased. Till that time, the naming was done uh, based upon the tribal naming, based on the tribal naming. Now it became problem because as the number of compounds increased, the naming became difficult. So all the organic chemists in the world existing in those days, they came and met in one place in Geneva. I think it is in the Switzerland, and they have given some set of rules. They have given some set of rules telling that if one carbon is present, what to tell. One carbon is present is methane. If it is two carbons, eth, like this. One carbon is meth, two carbon eth, three carbons prop. If there is hydroxyl group, alcohol, ol. If there is ketone, if there is any ketone structure, use the suffix ketone one. So like this, they framed the rules. So based on this set of principles, the drug names are given. So we just follow IUPAC system. So this is very difficult to remember. So doctors cannot prescribe on this naming. So, but as a medicinal chemist, it is very important. So it is cumbersome and not suitable for use in prescribing. Doctors cannot prescribe. It is even common person. Common person cannot come and ask with this chemical name. See, for example, this is the structure paracetamol. What is the name of this drug? Paracetamol. So paracetamol they can ask, but they cannot come and ask N-4 hydroxyphenyl acetamide. Can you give me? The pharmacist will die. He has to remember all this. That's why we written it is cumbersome. Now you see this is a drug called propranolol. Propranolol. It is antihypertensive drug. I think you people know what's the use of paracetamol. Paracetamol is a antipyretic drug. Antipyretic drug. So propranolol, how can you tell? You see the one isopropyl amino. See isopropyl. This is isopropyl amino. So one isopropyl amino. Again, you see three. You given number 1, 2, 3. So how do we give? How do we given this number 1, 2, 3? Select the longest chain. So that's what I was telling. We use the rules of IUPAC system, the set of rules prescribed by those scientists in those days. So every organic chemist, because first the drugs will be as a chemicals. Drugs will be as a chemicals. Then in turn they can if they are showing good activity, they can move toward we can call it as drug. So this is what we are telling. So we are using the principles of IUPAC system. IUPAC system. So you can see. So one isopropyl at first position, isopropyl amino. And then at third position, you can see it is naphthyloxy. Naphthalene. This is naphthalene structure. Naphthalene, and there is oxygen. Naphthyloxy and 2-propanol. at which position the hydroxyl group is present, at the second position. That's why prop 2-vol or 2-propanol you can write. So this is the way what we can do it, what you can give naming by chemical naming or IUPAC system. But completely this is you cannot use these names by the patient. Patient can be illiterate, sometimes he can be an engineer or he can be a lawyer. Lawyer cannot come and understand this 4-hydroxyacetamide, hydroxyphenylacetamide. A engineer cannot come, or a bank manager who is expert in a mathematics, in statistics and money matters, he can't come. And maybe we as a pharmacist or a chemist, we can get this information. So it is very difficult to follow this naming, especially during prescribing. So I hope you people are following. Any doubt, please?
No.
Very good. Next, thank you for responding. Next one, non-proprietary name. These names are very famous, are generic names. You can observe the figure which I have given. These are various pharmacopoeias. See, pharmacopoeia, USP, United States Pharmacopoeia. United States Pharmacopoeia. And this is European Pharmacopoeia. Every country has their own pharmacopoeias. Even in India, we have Indian Pharmacopoeia. Japan has Japan Pharmacopoeia. Pakistan has Pakistan Pharmacopoeia. China Pharmacopoeia. In Kenya, we don't have. We don't have Kenyan Pharmacopoeia. They're trying to make up. Or we can follow any of these. So here you can see it. I just explained. I think you people might have seen these pharmacopoeias in the lab. These big books. So it is. Now you can see. Please, sir. Now here, please, non-proprietary. Non-proprietary names are public. Proprietary, no proprietary. Non-proprietary means they're not. They don't have any ownership. They don't have any ownership. So the names are public. The names are public, and the names are globally recognized. Wherever you go, whether you go to US or you go to Canada or you go to Greenland, you go to Sudan or you go to anywhere, the name of these drugs will be the same in entire world. That drugs, that naming, that type of naming is called as generic naming. Clear? Even in Kenya, even in South Africa, the name of the drug will be same. Will be the same. How these rules came and everything, I'll explain. So, and one more important thing is that the drugs are usually, not usually, every time the drug names will be official names in official books. In all these books, drug names are used. This naming, generic names. The generic names are here. You see, generic names. Generic names are used in official books. What are those books? So this book is Bible for us, or a Quran for us, or any book. These are for pharmacy. This is the Bible for us. What are that book called? It is pharmacopoeia. It is pharmacopoeias. What is the spelling? Please listen. This is the spelling. Many people try to tell wrong spelling. Wrong spelling. What is that? Pharmacopoeia. Copoeia. Pharmacopoeia. What are various pharmacopoeias? For example, British pharmacopoeia. It is in Britain. It is official book. USP, United States Pharmacopoeia. European pharmacopoeia, Indian pharmacopoeia. There is international pharmacopoeia also. Japanese pharmacopoeia. If any country doesn't have any pharmacopoeia, no problem. Kenya doesn't have any pharmacopoeia. They can tell you are following USP or BP. BP means British pharmacopoeia, not blood pressure here. BP means British pharmacopoeia. USP means United States pharmacopoeia. So what does these books consist of? It consists of all the standards. What is its color? What is its strength? What are various doses from? For example, you see paracetamol. It is available in the form of tablets. It is also available in the form of suspension. It is also available in the form of injection. For children, you give paracetamol in the form of suspension, oral suspension. Because paracetamol is insoluble in water, so we make paracetamol in the form of very fine powder and dissolve in a mix in a solvent, not dissolve, sorry, mix in a solvent so they can absorb. So all these, whether it is a tablet, so first what happened, paracetamol only API will be given. Next one will be paracetamol tablet. Next one paracetamol suspension. Next one paracetamol injections. So in all these, what they give, the strength, how much to give, what is its physical properties they will mention, its chemical properties, what are the impurities you expect, and their assay methods. Assay methods will be mentioned. This is nothing but called as monograph. Nothing but monograph. So the drug names which are written in pharmacopoeias are nothing but generic names. What is generic name? It is public name. Public name. It is the names are globally accepted. Why we need this such a name? You can see to avoid confusion. So if South African people will tell one different name, Kenyan people will tell different name, it will be confused. To avoid that, these systems will help to avoid confusion and ensure that healthcare professionals, researchers, patients use the same terminology for the same drug regardless of location. Regardless of location. So this is the advantage with the help of generic naming. Generic naming. So the generic names are official names. Why? Because the names are present in pharmacopoeias, official books. Their names are globally recognized. It's very important. Suppose if a patient comes, many of the Kenyan people comes to India for the treatment. If Kenyan doctor writes something name in Swahili, the Indian doctor cannot recognize. So treatment may become very troublesome. Yes or no, please? So to avoid that, they made uniform. See our old people, how much they they have taught about the younger generation. So they made all these rules, which are very important for us. Now, who does these things? Who will be the head of this? You see, drugs, non-proprietary names are uniform worldwide through an international agreement. Through an international agreement. So every country has their agreement. They need to follow. Through who is the boss? WHO. Huh? Under WHO, one of the department is International Non-Proprietary Names. WHO has big building in the US. It has big building. So one of the branch in WHO is International Non-Proprietary Names branch. So they provide. You can see when drug develops. So when drug is developed, the INN means what? International Non-Proprietary Names is assigned to it. So for example, I discovered one drug. Then I should submit all those details to the regulatory. One of the department which I submit is also to this INN. And I suggest that the name can be this. Then INN will establish a team. If they all agree, then they put the name. That name is called as generic name. Who is the boss for INN? WHO. What is INN? International Non-Proprietary Name. Non-Proprietary names. So when a drug is developed, the INN is assigned to it, providing a unique and universally accepted name that is distinct from a brand or a proprietary name. So paracetamol is there. If you found one more antipyretic drug, you can't put again paracetamol. You need to find another name. So for example, ibuprofen. So they given another name. So who is giving the name? WHO or INN. Who has to apply? The innovator, whoever identified. The company who, you can tell the company who has identified the drug can suggest some names. Now you see, my parents are privileged to put my name. The same way, my parents are the owners of me. The same way, your parents are the owners. So the owner of the drug, that means whoever discovered, they can give the name. Are you getting, please? So this is the non-proprietary name. Let us discuss little more in depth. So see, just like INN, International Non-Proprietary Name, many countries also have their own naming system, body. They also monitor whether they are following or not. See, the generic names, the generic names are accepted by other competent scientific bodies such as, so that is United States Adapted Name Council. This also work. INN is the boss. To the who INN in the naming system. Then under INN in USA, United States Adapted Name is presented. BAN, British Approved Names. So British people also need to approve whatever the INN given. Whatever the INN given, 100% everyone will accept. But every country has their own way of doing the work, so they kept their own naming. You can also see JAN, which means Japan approved names. IAN, you can also see Indian approved names. So some of the examples which they use in the generic naming system, you can see it below. Suppose if there is a word, you can see some of the examples of the drugs, you see. diazepam, nitrozepam, flumazepam. So whenever there is a suffix AZ, EPAM, AZ, EPAM. See, Z, EPAM, AZ, EPAM. That means all these drugs are belong to this class, benzodiazepines. Benzo, you can see benzodiazepines. In the name of this, there is azapine structure. Now you can see beta lactams. So they have the suffix bactam, bactam in the suffix. They have the suffix bactam in the suffix. You see solbactam. So here also you can see it in INN also, international non-proprietary name. In INN also, some of the chemical naming is presented. So bactam, if the drug has BACTUM as a suffix, they all are bactam, beta lactam antibiotics. Like, for example, penicillin drugs, you see they have suffix silins. They have the suffix silins. You can see it penicillin, ampicillin, amoxicillin. So these are the some of the principles, some of the suffix or prefix which INN has given. So if the drug has this structure, they need to follow. Cephalosporins, see, they have prefix ceph. They have the prefixes ceph like this. Cetron, you can see 5-HT blocker, ondansetron, very good drug, anti-emetic drug. Granisetron, then allosetron. This is a very peculiar 5-H3 blocker, which is used in IBS. I think you people might have known IBS. That is inflammatory bowel syndrome. Inflammatory bowel syndrome. As soon as you eat food, you tend to go to washroom. So irritable bowel syndrome. Irritable bowel syndrome. So this drug is used in the treatment of irritable bowel syndrome only for females, not for males. The reason is that it is better absorbed. The clearance is very fast in males. That means it gets excreted in males very fast. In female, it retains in the body. So that's why it is used to treat irritable bowel syndrome in female. So they have all these drugs, you can see it, they have the suffix cetron. So this is so for example, you see vir, so they have the suffix vir, whichever have the suffix, they are nothing but antiviral drugs. Indinavir, squinavir, daltactravir. These are some of the non-proprietary way of naming. Non-proprietary means what? There is no ownership, public. That's why we told the names are public. Their official names. Why? Because they are present in official books. What are those official books? Pharmacopoeias. What are those various pharmacopoeias? United States pharmacopoeia, British pharmacopoeia, Japanese pharmacopoeias. some of the few famous European pharmacopoeias. What does these pharmacopoeias consist of? It consists of monograph. So who is going to give the names? Why we need to have this generic name? To avoid confusion around the world. Some of the names you can see it. My name, many people may not be able to pronounce properly first time. So some of your names, oh my God, I also can't. So, but these drugs names, you people need to learn. You need to learn it. So, any doubt clear here, students? Any doubt?
No doubt.
Okay, let me ask some of the few students whether you are following or not. Brenda. Clara Brenda. Sorry if I'm pronouncing wrong. Please unmute yourself and talk.
Yes.
Okay, Brenda, can you give me few examples of what are different types of naming?
Okay. We have the proprietary naming, and
Very
then
good. Hmm.
we have trivial naming, or the
Can you
common
repeat?
one. We have the
Okay.
trivial naming or the common naming.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Go ahead.
And then we have the chemical or IUPAC system of naming.
Good. 3 you told. Next.
And then we
Next.
have generic or non-proprietary naming. And
You are repeating the same thing again.
proprietary or brand naming.
Brand name. Very good. Last name.
And then we have the last one is code name.
Very good, madam. Thank you. Next person. Who is that? Langat. Onisimas Langat. Can you please unmute yourself? If you're not unmuting, if you're not responding, you will be given in the discussion 0 mark because attendance and discussion.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Can you please explain what are the different, how does the name diethyl stilbestrol was given?
For diethylstilbestrone, it came from the trivial naming system, where diethyl is because of the two ethyl groups, and the
Good.
stilbestrone is because of the of the steel bean, which was meaning the color, which meant color. Steel bean means striking color or bright color. And the estrol came from the estradiol hormone.
Excellent. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Phillips. Philip.
Yes.
Philip, can you speak something about diethyl stilbestrol isomerism?
Uh, the distance between
Go ahead, try, no problem. You are coming to the answer. Please go ahead. Don't hesitate.
the distance between the two OH is almost similar to the estradiol.
In which form?
It has like for diethyl stilbestrol, it's 12.17 compared to estradiol, which is 11.18.
Okay, now let me tell one more time. Trans form of diethyl stilbestrol is active because the distance between two hydroxyl group is similar to that of natural estradiol, as Phillips told. Whereas the cis form, the distance between two hydroxyl group is becoming less. So it cannot bind to the receptor very well. So it doesn't show any action. So this is the thing. And thank you. Next, Simon.
Yes, sir.
Simon, how are you, Simon?
I'm good.
Can you please explain about non-proprietary names? Non-proprietary names.
Yes. Non-proprietary name is a name given by it's a name given to a drug by it's like by company, or like we can also say a brand name, like it's a name given by the company who's like in a charge of that drug, like
You are seeing my slide and telling. I asked about generic name. You didn't follow. You were enjoying when I'm teaching.
I enjoyed. You said non-proprietary name, right?
Yeah. I
Oh,
asked about non-proprietary. I didn't teach proprietary name till now.
okay.
Can anyone?
So let
Simon,
me
you are
try.
not following me. Simon, you are not following me. I think you were following YouTube or something. Or
No.
Don't tell
Let me
my
try.
child. No, you are telling lie to me.
Let me try again.
Okay. Anyone, if Simon can recollect, let me go to another people. Paul. Warura. Hello, Paul. He is absent. Okay, he or she, I don't know. Okay, next. Joyce.
Yes, sir.
Can you please explain about the generic naming, please?
Generic name is also the non-proprietary name. It's a name given to a drug that is not subjected to proprietary rights.
Good.
The names are public and are recognized globally.
Okay, what is the agency which recognize?
There is USAN.
Big boss, you
That
tell,
is,
not in individual country. Please tell about the WHO agency.
okay.
INN. What do you mean by INN? I given clue.
INN,
Please.
it's International Non-Proprietary Names.
Yeah, very good. Please try to be attentive. Very good. Class is very responsive. I appreciate. Thank you very much. Now, let us go. We will finish. Then proprietary names, which is also called as brand name, which is also called as brand name or pharmaceutical company name. So, as the name indicates, you see, it is the name assigned. It's the name assigned by the manufacturers, not the researcher, not the inventor. Anyone. Suppose if now Joyce found something, paracetamol has started manufacturing some paracetamol, then Joy can put Joy in all like that. So it is anyone can give, any manufacturer can give the name. So it is the name assigned by the manufacturer and it is their property and it's a trademark. So what happens now? The manufacturer invests some money so that it is registered on him. So no one can give this name to any other company by to the drug. For example, let me show you some examples. You see, for example, here you see this is one slide, which is you see the drug name is metformin. You see the drug name metformin is the brand name. So metformin is the generic name. Now this Bristol Myers company given the name glucophase. So now glucophase, you see, it is a trademark. It is given as R. R means registered. So no other company can use this glucophase for metformin. So that's what we told. This Bristol Myers company has given the name for the metformin tablet glucophase. So that's what we told. Brand names are proprietary. So anyone, suppose if I manufacture metformin, I cannot use the title I cannot use the name as glucophase. I can use some different. I am Janapatino, Genformin I can put. Are you getting or not? What do you mean by this? That means the names are ownership. Any company can give any name and it should be registered. So this is a, now let us go in detail. Now you see, now you can see it here. You see one company, one drug may have multiple proprietary names. See, for example, why? Because you see, many companies can manufacture one drug. For example, you see, atenolol is very good drug for the treatment of blood pressure. It's very good drug. The name of this atenolol is generic drug. Now, trade names, you see, Altol, Atacardil, Aticor, Aten, Beta Card, Lonol, Tenlolol. So different company. This is one company. This is different company because the generic names. So once the patent, for example, you see the company is a Bristol Mayer company, which we were discussing. Once its patent completed, patent is usually for 20 years. Usually it is 20 years. Suppose I discovered one drug. Once the patent is given for me, 20 years, I can manufacture this drug and distribute anywhere until the agencies agree. And I will earn all the profit. Once this patent is completed, any company can manufacture the drug. Atenolol, once it was produced by one company. After completion of 20 years, now even the, for example, a pharmaceutical company in Kenya, for example, what is that? Any company name? Dawa company can manufacture atenolol. Any company, for example, USIU, if they manufacture, if they have manufacturing unit, USIU also can manufacture. Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a bit confused with the names for the trade names. Like those names like Alto, does it mean those names are given by the manufacturers or the companies? The companies are manufacturing the drug.
Yeah, companies and manufacturers are the same, no? So the names are given by those manufacturers or company.
Okay.
You can also call as manufacturer or company. For example, Dawa is a company. We can also call Dawa as a manufacturer. Dawa Industries as a manufacturer. Are you getting at, madam? So like that, any manufacturer or a company can give any name, but it should give some sense. So this is a beta. It is atenolol is a beta blocker. Adrenergic receptors you will study. I think in pharmacology you will study. You can see beta blocker. See beta card, and this drug is cardiovascular drug. See beta card. Aticardil. See because atenolol name aticardil, cardiovascular. Like they have given the name by the company or the manufacturer. Yes, Brenda, is it okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I am emphasizing. You see, one drug may have multiple proprietary names because it is manufactured by many companies. Suppose a company in Rwanda can manufacture if they have ability. They can put something as Rwanda card. Rwanda card. It is their wish. So if they feel that that name is very catchy, other people can use in order to confuse. Suppose why they registered, why this name. For example, you see, let us go to this slide. You see, this glucophase, it has some market. It has captured market. Now, if you don't register, I came to know that glucophase is a very good name and everyone is purchasing. Now I can start manufacturing metformin with the same glucophase, but the manufacturer is different. So who is going to get the profit? My company, not the Bristol Mayer company. So that's why they register. They feel that these names are very catchy. So there are many companies which give the names and they take the money. They take the money. So this is what about the branded name. Branded name, for example, you can see one example, one more example. You see in one slide we kept here for paracetamol. You see INN, international non-proprietary name is paracetamol. British approved name is also paracetamol, but United States approved name is acetaminophen. So there paracetamol is named as acetaminophen, but the same drug. Then proprietary names you see Pandolol, Panamax, Calpol, Crocin, Tylenol, Atasol. Chemical name is N-4-hydroxyphenyl acetamide. So this is one example for paracetamol, which has this one. Up to here, all these are generic names. Then this is trade name or branded name, brand. Then this is chemical name. There is no common name or trivial name for paracetamol because later it was discovered. Now, some more differences. Next slide. We are almost coming to end. Please try to capture some more differences between generic name and brand name. See, branded and generic name. Is there any difference in active ingredient? No, there is no difference in active ingredient. Both generic and branded name are safe equally, effective equally, and quality ways also same. Branded names are little costly because branded names are most of them are pioneer companies, innovator company. So the strength also the same. Suppose paracetamol 500 mg means 500 mg. You should also manufacture. Quality, no difference. That's what I'm telling. Generic and branded names. Quality wise, safety wise, and effective ways, everything is same. 100% to 100% same. Now, names. You see, in generic names, under generic, globally accepted, official in books, that is pharmacopoeia, they are not trade names. Whereas branded name, the name is given by company, it is trade name. They are not present in the official books. They are not present in pharmacopoeias. Branded names are not present again. Please, I'm repeating. Branded names are not present in the pharmacopoeias. Then manufactured, several companies, once the patent is expired, they can manufacture. Generic name can be present once the company expired the patent. Who is having brand name? Pioneer company. Pioneer company. So for generic drugs, you need not to study any animal study. So whereas branded is nothing but innovator drug, innovator company. Okay, innovator company has to study animal studies. They need to study even human study. That's why they spent lot of money and time. So that's why patent is given approximately 20 years. So they use lot of money. Next class, you can see how much money is involved in one drug to come into market. 1.5 billion, they're telling. 1.5 billion USD. So approximately how many years it will take? Some 12 years, up to 12 years it takes for a drug to come into market. So 1.5 billion you are spending, USD you are spending. So the government has decided to give patent for 20 years. So you collect all those money what you have invested. Why they are spending so much of money? Because animal study, human study. That's why. For generic, no need to study because 20 years it has used. By the time the safety and everything is studied, so no need. So no need of animal study. On human study, here it is required. Here we only perform bioavailability and bioequivalence studies. What are the studies we perform on the generic? Bioavailability. What do you mean by bioavailability? You people might have learned bioavailability means amount of drug reaching into systemic circulation. So that we measure. And this bioavailability, you are comparing with these drugs, branded drugs. Then it is called as bioequivalence. You are comparing bioavailability. You are equating your bioavailability with the branded. That's why it is called as bioequivalence. We are performing this. And this is done on humans. So that's what we told. Here, complete clinical trials. Here what we are doing? We are studying complete clinical trials. Then the price of generic is cheaper. We study during our 5th year projects. Here, one tablet may be 200 shillings. Some of the drugs, for example, cephalosporin, last time we studied. The same drug here, it is coming for 17 shillings. Where is 200? For example, if you buy 10 tablets, becoming 10 tablets, if you purchase, no, it becomes 2000, whereas here it becomes 170. So generic drugs, you can see it here. This slide, this spot you can see, very safe, same quality, same effective, also same. Now, what is the application to be given to submit to the regulatories for branded is new drug application. New drug application. What's the application to be submitted to the regulatories for approval for while manufacturing generic is abbreviated, short, abbreviated new drug application. So these are the some of the differences between branded and generic naming. Not only naming, we have discussed little more about complete discussion about branded and generic drugs. Students, I hope you people are following. Then this is one example which I showed you almost everything. We discussed about this figure. Next one is last one. We are going to finish and we can wind up this code name. So this code name, for example, you can observe here RU486. So you can give this code name where the drug is in research. So what is that? It's a temporary name. It is a temporary name designated by the developing company. So for example, you see mifepristone. Mifepristone is produced by one company called as Russell Clough. Russell Clough is a company which has discovered this mifepristone. So here the names are in the form of what is that? Alphanumeric. Alpha, that means alphabets will be there as well as numeric namings are present. See RU486. Alphabets, RU is the alphabet. What does RU means? RU means the company name. Company name. 486 is, it's a serial number during the process of research. During the process of research. So what is the code name? So the names are given by developing company or innovator company. The names are temporary, alphanumeric, and it does not give any information. Chemical name, previously we were getting some information on its chemical structure. Brand name, a generic name, also little information will be present, but here code name doesn't. You see, unlike chemical or generic names, code names does not provide any information about the drug structure, mechanism of action, and therapeutic uses. So it is a temporary name given by the company or innovator company during the developing phase. How these names are given? Alphanumeric. Does it give any sense? No. It doesn't give any description or any sense. For example, you see, here you see mifepristone. Mifepristone is used to end pregnancy. Suppose you carried out any sexual performance without protection, then if you get pregnancy, you can use this mifepristone to stop. Then, for example, one more drug you see, MK 3475. What's the name? Now, see, once the drug has got approved, then they submit to INN and they have given the name mifepristone. Now, previously MK 3475 was pembrolizumab. It is an immunomodulatory drug to treat various cancers. What does MK means? Refers to Merck company. The company. So they give their own codes. MK 3475. So this is about the naming. Any doubt, please?
No.
If you don't, okay, thank you. If you don't have any doubts, you can leave. Please do sign for attendance. Otherwise, we can leave. Thank you very much. I'll be the last person to leave. So if you have any doubt, you can ask. Or you didn't capture anything, you can also ask.